It's really important to make sure that our brands, which is a wide portfolio of really well-known brands such as Advil, Sensodyne, Tums, um, Emergency, Centrum, Robitussin, I could go on. It's really important that we not only make sure that people recognize the brand name, but has an understanding of the meaning behind their purpose and what service we help support all of our consumers and those with healthcare needs.
And so when you talk about brand storytelling, how do you define it in terms of what aspects of brand storytelling does Haleon use?
It's becoming increasingly hard to connect with consumers because there's such fragmentation. We're all so distracted. We all go to so many different media to try to take in all the little bits of time that we have, that to break through, we're finding that it's even more important to make sure that our brands are taking that step to really find what connects with the consumer that's most important to them in either a culturally relevant or really meaningful way. And the two great examples I have are the recent work we've done with Flonase, which is a leading allergy medication, and we worked with Shondaland and did a really clever integration when Bridgerton season 3 was coming out. They knew that their couple of the season was Pollen, and it was coming out right at the kickoff of allergy season. And they had actually reached out to us, and there's nothing more flattering when leading brands in their own entity of programming come to us and say, hey, this brand makes a lot of sense. And there was just a really, really clever program that we came up with, Flonase, where we did a really storytelling around allergies and tied to the pollen count. That too bad Flonase didn't exist back in the day when there was the talk of the ton was going on. And it was just this great opportunity to leverage such a culturally relevant moment because there were so many Bridgerton fans waiting for the show to come out at a time where they were also starting to sneeze from their own pollen issues. So we were excited about it, and what we saw was huge brand lift, 29% brand lift, over 300,000 earned media impressions, and even awareness of a brand that is so well known, had even higher awareness results from it, from those people exposed to the content that we pushed out there.
So what platforms did you use for Bridgerton?
Yeah, so this was something that we really had to recognize, and especially when you look at these hot shows and all of this, the programming that people are just dying to wait for the next episode to come out. They're consuming as much media and different materials as they can about the actors in the films, on their social media reels, in news, podcasts, whatever it may be. So, when we talk about a core anchor of a content program, it's really important, but at the same time, we have to recognize that the real opportunity is to be able to have different pieces and different bits and segments in shorter form, longer form, whatever it may be. So we had it on our own properties. We tried to leverage it with some of our DCOM partners. We actually really did a lot of social because that's where most people are consuming, especially as they're, the metas of the world, because that's where consumers were taking in as much content in anticipation of the season coming, of the premiere coming out. So we really tried to recognize that it wasn't just about one place and one type of experience tied to that content partnership, but there was a lot of different ways and a lot of different legs to extend it.
There's been a lot of conversation during the New Fronts about AI, a lot of big announcements. We're really far into the AI era, or maybe we're just scratching the surface, who knows? But do you see AI as an accelerant for brands today?
We do. I mean, when you can't ignore it. And when you look, I think so often in this industry, we talk about how is AI going to help us as marketers? But the reality is it's already out there helping consumers. And when we look at the data, media time spent isn't changing, but how consumers are consuming media is changing. And there's AI technology, whether they're searching on social media or in a number of platforms and experiences, that it's being fueled by AI first, which is why it's so important to recognize the importance of trust and credibility with what we put out there. And we take this very seriously at Haleon because we are a healthcare organization, and our mission is everyday health with humanity. And that humanity, we mean building trust and making sure that people know that they can trust whatever content we put out there for our brands is coming from a fact-based, credible place. And that trust is an interesting challenge these days because there's such community authenticated reliance that consumers have. One of the ways we really try to connect and make sure that AI isn't interrupting and challenging and making people distrust what we put out there as advertisers and marketers of our brand is on Sensodyne. So we use a lot of expert talent when we create materials that we either put on social media or even on television and in digital platforms. And when we do that, we've actually started to partner with the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity. And what that organization helps us put out there is, hey, there are ways to validate that not every piece of content out there is questionable. And those participating in this coalition, we actually put watermarks on our content in digital so that you can then click on the ad itself and a box of information comes down where you can see that the claims that we're making are valid. This was not AI generated. These are real people that we're using in our talent. We take it very seriously when we talk about how to use AI responsibly as advertisers. And it just gives people that much more security and confidence that what they're seeing coming from Sensodyne and our other brands who use expert talent, they have confidence that we're not making this inaccurate or it's not altered by AI.
So tell me a little bit about the Sensodyne campaign.
There's two ways we've been really excited to talk about content and brand storytelling being tied together. The first was the Flonase Bridgerton experience I just mentioned. The other one that's taking a little bit of a different role, whereas Flonase was talking about tapping into cultural relevancy and something that was really compelling in that moment for consumers. The other one that we're really proud of and what makes our experience and our work really rewarding is Sensory Overload, which is a documentary that we've produced with Vox Productions, and it is called Sensory Overload because it tells the story of a number of different families and people in our communities that are helping address and recognize the importance of neurodiverse consumers and people that aren't as comfortable going to the dentist. 20% of our population are considered neurodiverse. 90% of them state that they are uncomfortable going to the dentist. So we're really proud of the work that we've brought with this documentary. It's now on Hulu, available on Hulu. And we're really proud of that work because what we've then been able to do is extend that concept and that idea-based story to figure out, well, how can we even make this more meaningful and impactful and not just talk about it, but really make the change that we think is needed, which the change needed is more training and more education for dentists so that they can help create safer environments for this population. So what we've been able to do is partner with the American Dental Association and a nonprofit organization called Culture City, and we're offering 6 accredited hours of training for dentists so that they can learn how to create a more comfortable, welcoming environment for the neurodiverse population as a result.